tained on that. But my guess would be, that they felt like it worked because you didn't always get pregnant when you had sex, right? I mean, it doesn't always happen. Mathematically, it has to be at certain times. So they probably didn't know that type of stuff. So they just felt like it worked, I guess. I don't know.
I'd be curious to see, too, the amount of disease that happened. Like, there was no babies born, great, but
you died 2 weeks later.
All the vaginas fell off. Like, that's the alternative. That's weird, man.
It's not just ancient Egypt, though. So I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy named Robert Boyle. He's from Ireland, I think. He lived in the 1600s. He was kind of basically like the first modern chemist. So he's often called the father of chemistry.
Okay.
And he did something called Boyle's Law. You probably don't remember this from 7th grade chemistry or whatever, 11th grade chemistry.
That's a fair assumption.
But he created the Boyle's Law, inverse relationship between pressure and volume. He also was kind of like a doctor right on the side. And he used dried human, not crocodile this time, human, poop powder. So you mash it up into a powder. You blow it into a patient's eyes to clear their cataracts.
Ah, interesting. Well, again, did it work? Because that's a little bit of a more recent example, right? Did it actually work or no?
I mean, it was a relatively common practice that he used, so he must have had some success with it. I mean, poop is magic, man. It's magical stuff.
Well, and there's always like, and I haven't done any research on this, so I'm probably speaking from a little bit of naivete, but isn't there a commonplace procedure today where you insert poop into your body that heals you from some poop ailments or something like that, right?
Bacteriotherapy.
Yeah.
Shit transplants.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's probably some credence in poop being used as a medicine. So I don't and like you said earlier, I don't understand the first person that does all of this where they're like, hold on, we can't cure your cataracts, but I have this really dried turd that I'm looking to use for something. Let me grind it up and blow it in your face. Like, I don't understand the doctor that does that takes that risk. And two, I don't understand the patient that's like, okay, let's give it a try. Like, you want to grind up this turd and blow it in my face? Let's give it a try.
Good plan.
Yeah. Sounds good, Doc.
I mean, you talked about shit transplants.
Yeah.
And, definitely that is totally a thing. That it actually started back in China in like the 4th century, so a really long time ago. And the idea is that you replace the good bacteria that essentially has been killed or suppressed or whatever in your gut. And it's interesting that in 2013, the FDA actually classified fecal matter as an investigational new drug. Like I said, it's magic stuff, man. The Chinese called this practice yellow soup or golden syrup. Doesn't that sound fucking delicious?
I mean, all that reminds me of is Tub Girl. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Tub Girl, but I'm pretty sure that's from China. And for those of you that are listening that understand that reference, it's gross, and my apologies. But if you don't understand that reference, look it up. But delete your internet browsing history after it. But I mean,
I'll have to do that.
Oh my God! I mean, Google it now. Actually, just while we're talking, so I can.
No, that's okay.
I know your reaction, but I mean I feel like a lot of the gross stuff just is so gross that it shouldn't make sense. And this is exactly what we're trying to do with this podcast, right? Is talk about this random stuff that might be real, might not be real. In this case, most of this stuff that we're talking about was used in one time or another. And that is what we're not making this stuff up. This is just something that existed and people used and people accepted it. And it's just so strange to me. So I want to take us back to, again, ancient Egypt, again, with my theory that everything exists in ancient Egypt or ancient Rome. I'm going to take us back to ancient Egypt. And in ancient Egypt, look, I have 3 cavities right now. And I hate needles. And I'm probably just going to lose these teeth rather than go and get the cavities filled because I don't want the needles. But in ancient Egypt, they would take dead mice. They would grind them up similar to everything that you're talking about with these big, gigantic dried turds. They would grind up these mice, and they would use the blended mice as a compound to ease toothache pain.
Yeah, I saw that too. Like old school Orajel, man. Just
Yeah, it's so strange to me though. Again, like you have to give these ancient civilizations kudos that they came up with stuff that they could use based off of the stuff that they had. But it's just, to me, like, and this was something that also potentially cured warts and all of this stuff. I mean, they used dried blended mice for so many things back in ancient Egypt that it just I mean, in hindsight, look, is ground up mice better than ground up turds being blown into your face? Yes.
Is it? I don't know.
In my opinion, it is. But
so I mean, who's the? What I want to know with those 2 points is who's the guy that got the job or lady that got the job to grind up the mice to make the paste or grind up the shit. You know, that's a lousy job.
My guess is that those are child labor laws that we can no longer talk about, because there was probably a lot of people in ancient Egypt. While if you weren't building the pyramids, you were probably grinding up turds and mice.
Those are the only 2 jobs they had?
Yeah. But Adam, I mean, if you think about, I mean, again, going back to these ground up mice, they were using it for whooping cough. They were using it for measles, smallpox, bedwetting, everything that they could possibly, basically anything that was affecting them on a wide scale.
You know, I saw also on the dead mouse subject that in the 1500s England, they used mice that were just cut in half to rub on warts.
Yeah,
to get rid of those.
It's
those
so
things.
strange. It's so strange to me that you would just think that, and maybe they're genius minds. I don't know, but it's so strange to me that you would think, hey, why don't we try this cut up mouse and rub it on your wart and see if it goes away?
How about on next podcast, episode 3?
Okay.
All we do is we just cut a mouse up and you just rub it on a wart.
See,
that you have.
I mean,
weird growth that you have on your leg.
That's a scar.
See if it cures it. I bet you don't get rid of it.
We can try it. I mean, I got a mouse trap out back for the pest guy that he leaves and collects all the mice, so there's no snakes in my yard. But I can see if there's anything back there.
I got one more poop one for you.
Yeah, and I got a couple more too that we can discuss. But continue.
So before we started recording, we were talking about your love for wine.
Yeah, I do love wine.
Very, very appropriate to this because there's something called fecal wine that is also used where you take white wine, mix it with some stuff, including poop, that also helps cure smallpox, gout, and jaundice. In the mid-17th century, at least, that's what they thought. They actually still drink fecal wine to a certain extent in Korea today. So book your ticket, man.
We didn't specify what my love of wine was, but it's actually fecal wine. I mean, I just try not to bring that up too often because it's not something. But this podcast is gonna energize.
It's out there, man.
It's gonna energize the fecal wine movement. I feel like that's more acceptable than blowing turds in your face. Just me.
Drinking a turd is more acceptable than blowing turds in your face?
Yes. I mean, if you put it that way, neither. Yeah, I'll take option C, I guess. But
avoid turds altogether.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So, are you familiar with patron saints? Everything. I mean, we talked about it.
I know a couple patron saints, but I don't know them all. We established last episode.
We did.
I'm not at all religious.
And me neither. But there are several patron saints. And
I would concur with that. Yeah.
Okay, we can all agree on that topic. Do you know
who the patron saint of shit is? No.
Well, there's probably a patron saint for that. Do you know who the patron saint of hemorrhoids is?
Oh, hemorrhoids. Is it Sir Preparation H?
Sir Preparation? Sir Preparation Ha? No, it is not. The patron saint of hemorrhoids is Saint Fiacre. That is who you should pray to if you have massive, painful hemorrhoids.
What if you have just tiny, small hemorrhoids? Can you help you out with those?
Yeah, I mean, I those adjectives I added the adjectives. He's just the patron saint of he's the patron saint of hemorrhoids. You can pray to him whether large or small hemorrhoids. I'm sure he will respond. But back in the day, and I don't have a date on this. Back in the day, monks, if you didn't pray, if you had hemorrhoids, right? And I mean, Today we do have Preparation H. We have all of these. You can basically go to the doctor. They'll slice them in half real quick, get them out of there. And
so they used like the stuttering method to just cut
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, if we're comparing hemorrhoids to the under part of your tongue, yes, that's the same thing. But I mean, the hemorrhoids is basically like a common cold at this point, where it's easy to figure out. But back in the day, if you had hemorrhoids and you didn't pray to Saint Fiacre, then you would go to the monks. The monks would shove a gigantic hot poker in your butthole and just pop those motherfuckers real quick.
Like straight out of the fire?
Straight out of the fire, burning hot red, like your butthole is a cattle waiting to be just fucking stamped.
Nice.
That's what the monks back in the day would do to cure your hemorrhoids. But they would only do it if you didn't pray to the patron saint of hemorrhoids.
Is it just like honor system?
If you paid,
do you have hemorrhoids? Did you pray?
No.
Did you pray?
No, but if you did pray to the patron saint of hemorrhoids, Saint Fiacre, then your hemorrhoids would go away. But if you didn't pray, then they would know, because you would be there in front of them saying, Mr. Monk, or whatever the hell monks are called, I need this hot poker in my butt. And they would do it, and it would just pop those hemorrhoids and get them right away and call it a day. So to me, out of all the stuff we talked about today, I mean, that to me is the most painful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right. Sticking a hot poker up your ass is probably quite painful.
Yeah, and correction, we're talking about 7th century monks. So, I mean, we're talking about a long time ago. But I'm glad that the monks of today have different practices for different things. I haven't heard of anybody getting a poker shoved in their butthole in a while without being drunk or high or something.
Back in France, in close to the 7th century?
7th century, yeah. Yep.
So back in the 800, like around year 800 in France, they like to do some stuff with dogs. Have you ever heard of cynomancy?
I have not heard of cynomancy.
Basically, this ability or this belief that, you can see past, present, or future events or information through interacting with a dog. So
okay.
Basically, they do a couple different things. You could, if someone was sick, they had some problem with them, you could take some lard and you could rub it on the person.
Okay.
Rub it all up in them.
Sounds delicious.
And then you take this lard and you go give it to some random dog that you find on the street that doesn't know the person.
Okay.
And if the dog eats the lard, they believe the person will live. So basically, that person's stench was not bad enough, to make the dog not want to eat the lard.
Interesting.
And I don't know about you, but I know my dogs will fucking eat anything. So I don't know how much I buy this one.
Well, is that sort of like... I've read stories and seen videos of like cats in nursing homes that like go to sit on keyboards of old people, and when they go to sit on those keyboards, that means the old person's going to die. Is that? I feel like that's sort of the same thing. Yeah.
So I mean, another thing they would do is you got a sick person, they're laying in the bed or whatever. So you walk in the room, and in your left hand you've got a tick.
Like a actual like deer tick.
Yeah, like a tick.
Okay.
And if the person turns towards you, like the person that's entering the room with the tick,
okay,
they were doomed. Basically, they were going to die.
What?
Because they were said to have been turning towards death. The tick being the death.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So like it's just crazy. Like,
yeah, I hate ticks.
Stuff that I agree. Have you heard about this longhorn tick?
Wait, and I don't know if this is the right one, but I have heard of a tick recently in the news.
Yeah, this is current event stuff.
Okay, that I don't know. I mean, I don't remember.
So there's this Asian longhorn tick that's fucking invading the eastern U.S., North Carolina and Virginia.
That's
all right,
us.
we're
That's
screwed,
us.
man.
Yep.
This tick is fucking insane. They will like gang up on you, and they can drain all of the blood from your body. Exsanguinate you.
Sweet.
And another crazy thing about these little shits is that they can reproduce without a male. So they can basically just like clone themselves.
Cool.
They are nasty, nasty little shits.
Where do they come from? You said Asia?
Asia, yeah.
God.
Unclear how they got here.
It's like those Asian carps. They'll just go ahead and eat everything, and then they'll just deplete the entire lake or the entire